See, that's the benefit of me having big elf ears. I can hear even the vibration from another continent.
Yeah, I've got the cat ears, but they're too full of fluff to hear things. So no benefit. Unfortunate. Anyway, what's going on up here in the clouds?
We're on Mount Fuji, as always. You can't see our feet because they have to be censored, but you see what we're seeing. We're seeing a beautiful sunset because that's what I want to see. I only want to look at sunsets and hentai.
Yeah. But what don't you want to look at?
That Weekly Shonen Jump series like Ichigoki and what else got canceled? Where did we see? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I don't want to look at that. That's something. That's no good. That's deserved. We started out really optimistic about Tokyo Demon Bride story because Tokyo Demon Bride story had to put. Yeah, the first the one shot was good. Everybody agrees the one shot was good. The first chapter was just a retelling, like panel by panel redraw of the one shot, except worse for some reason. And
somehow in my mind, in my memory, then our first impression had just been that it was an inferior Bleach knockoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would even go as far as say we were hopeful. Yeah, I would even go as far as say that it's not even a Bleach knockoff. It's actually a Bone Collection knockoff, and that's really bad. Speaking of which, Bone Collection, the author, has a new series, and he got such a big upgrade on his art style. I have way more confidence that he's able to deliver something because Bone Collection. I would say Bone Collection looked shitty, but it had more potential than Tokyo Demon Bride story because Bone Collection. Do you remember what that was? Was a dude, normal dude, has a yokai wife, and the yokai wife is the Gasha Dokuro. And her power is that every bone inside her body can be turned into a different weapon. And I don't know how many bones a human body has, something like 52 or something. So
no, more than 52. More than 52.
Let's say 52 for
Are you counting like the little ones?
I have no idea.
There's like a bunch in just the hands and feet.
Right, but bones. Even if it's 100, it gives you a limited number of things. And
Wikipedia says the typical human skeleton has 206 bones.
Okay, so many. You have the potential to make something up for each bone inside the body. And that could fill one chapter each because it was kind of like a gimmicky comedy, mildly action series, but also with romance. So I would say it's a split of 33% for action, romance, comedy.
That's a good split.
The main character was a typical straight man, and his anime waifu, yokai waifu, was basically Manaka from Tokyo Demon Bride story, except she was kind of she looked more stupid, and that gave I always got.
Do you like her more for that?
I liked her more because she gave me Konosuba Aqua vibes.
I understand you now.
And it had high school hijinks. Like one more thing that Tokyo Demon Bride story fucked up. That's the number one thing. If you have your high school romance harem manga anime, you want to have it take place in school because then you can have all of the typical school stuff.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about with Tokyo Demon Bride.
The main character of Tokyo Demon Bride story, Ginka, is like he spends so much time outside of school that it kind of like
we don't see his school at all except for in the final chapter.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Doesn't even feel like he's still high school age because he's always working.
He's like 30 in actuality.
Mentally he's 30.
Yeah.
When the cute and funny girl is like, I want to marry you. I want to live in your make babies. He's like, I don't even know who you are. I don't want this. I want to go my own way. I want to take care of my family. And that's not high schooler. That's 37-year-old guy who is already
responsible
done with life.
Man. Yeah.
You can be
sacred blood is what they call Ginka.
Oh yeah, it's such a stupid.
He wants to be sacred blood going their own way.
Yeah. What would that be? It's can't spell. Anyways, it's not good.
There's too many consonants in there.
It would be a nightmare for Japanese speakers to have to like skiboo Scatman. Let's just call it Scatman.
Yeah. Oh, what a great song. I don't know a single other song by the guy who sings that.
Well, he has like 2 absolute bops. He has like if you don't wanna be free, oh man, listen to me. I don't wanna nothing in your fantasy. And then he has like That's two. You don't need more.
It's enough. Yeah, it's more than one.
Macarena. I think he had a full album.
Wait, is that the
scat?
No,
scats.
Macarena
No.
Was a girl
and I was
it.
just going to say Macarena only had this one song.
Oh right.
But Scatman John had 2.
Was Macarena actually the singer's name?
No. They're if you give me more time, I can remember it off the top of my head. But Macarena was 2 guys. They're like Los Hombres. I don't know, something like that. Los Hombres de los Chicas.
Okay, I just remember like there's in that song there's a girl's voice at some part saying did they call her Macarena?
Yeah. That's the shit. You just want the old guys.
Yeah, then the guys say, "Hey."
The responsible old guys who go their own way. They don't dance. They just play, I think, guitars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sing.
Mariachis
and all of the
going
stupid girls
way.
are doing the dance.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's
did you want to? So there's been some wipeouts in Jump lately. Yeah. So I figured we could talk today about 2 of the things that have gone down, which are Ginka and Gluna and Tokyo Demon Bride.
You better believe in wipeouts because we're already in one. We're already taking a big bite out of Tokyo Demon Bride stories. Cancellation because it went on way too. And like,
this
it needs to end.
Had what? 20. Both of these, Ginka and Gluna and Tokyo Demon Bride, had 29 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's way too long.
Yeah, I think both of them were like
20's
running out of steam like months ago. How long did Red Hood last? I feel like Red Hood was shorter than these.
Yeah, I think 19.
Yeah, even though I think Red Hood probably should have been longer than either of these.
An argument is floating on the internet right now, which is if One Piece started right now, it would also get cancelled.
Oof.
Which I don't think is true.
Mm-hmm.
But
you have to go back and read those first 19 chapters.
I think
see how they feel. I felt like it was good from the beginning. I keep seeing posts from people saying, "Oh, One Piece takes so long to get good." I'm like, what are you talking about? I remember liking it from the beginning, but I don't know if I would feel the same if I, was starting afresh now.
The thing is, we're living in a post-One Piece world, and Oda broke new ground when he started drawing in a very un-manga art style. His style is very influenced by Disney, I would say.
Well, wasn't Tezuka also?
I mean, yeah. But,
so in a way, he's returned to tradition.
He returned to Monkey D. Luffy. And I thought that was back in the day.
Is there a guy named
like,
Crab in One Piece?
There's crabs.
There's gotta be. There's gotta be a crab guy.
There's a crab in Alabasta. They ride through the desert.
Yeah.
But he returned to Monkey. He went back to a very westernized art style, and he had a thing that rarely anybody did, which is like just make wonky monster people. Like do a fat guy. Like make a fat guy in anime. What a revolutionary idea. Make an ugly guy with a big nose.
He's got weird looking guys who aren't the stereotypical ugly guy, because I feel like a lot of manga, they'll have some stereotypical ugly guy. It's just they do it just by they draw his eyes a little bit smaller and they make his lips really detailed. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, this is the ugly guy.
But Oda
like Gorilla
broke new ground, and
yeah.
But also, like, some people will go on and say, no, that's not true, because even the ugly guys, like, as fat as they may be, they always still have abs on them. Like, do you remember the Foxy fight?
They're all like, what's his
Foxy's
name?
fat, he has abs.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
the abs that sit on top of the fat. Which means they're not really fat, they just have very thick intestines.
he just ate a lot. If he just goes to the toilet one time, he'll come out as a Bishonen.
Yeah, I don't want Bishonen Foxy. I would be surprised if there's not a guy who kind of resembles that. There's so many VTubers these days. Do you follow like indie VTubers at all? There's so many.
I don't have time. I'm sore. I'm wedgied. I'm sleepy. I have too much work to do.
I don't even watch like the big famous ones streams anymore. I just look at the clips afterwards.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Something good will come out of those.
So Oda introduces characters by just showing them off, showing like the whole design, the silhouette, the clothes, giving them very unique and differentiable manners of speech, and you can instantly tell what the deal is with the character. A lot of people too. Sometimes, and also sometimes, very often, they're introduced with a really funny joke. Even if the joke is just Luffy being like, "You're fat and ugly." Wow. Everybody can be like, he said the thing. He insulted him.
What a burn.
But I think a lot of authors nowadays try to do the Quentin Tarantino thing. For instance, I've read Chojin X, which is the new series by the Tokyo Ghoul author, and he's doing a thing that also Kubotai is doing. Kubotai introduces his characters by like having the camera move towards the character where they are. Like, for instance, if somebody was on a plane and you're going through all of the rows until the front row where the characters are sitting and they're talking about something, and they're talking about some really stupid, trivial thing.
Yeah,
like,
that happens a lot in Sakamoto Days as well.
Not to this extent, but Sakamoto Days is also guilty of this. And it's like you can already hear the audio from where the camera is going to linger. So once the camera is on the characters who are talking, it's like, oh, it's these guys who are talking all of this time. And the stuff they're talking about is so inane and so useless information. It's kind of like, oh, but isn't it really natural and normal?
It makes them feel like real people.
Yeah, that's what these authors think, but overdo it. If you like make up really stupid stuff, then it goes over the edge and just makes the whole thing ridiculous. Like, for instance, in the most recent Chojin X chapter, 2 new mid-boss type villains get introduced, and they talk about like, hey, do you know what my dream is? My dream is I want to be rich so that I can have a harem of muscle dudes and they will worship me. And it's all just It's by a female character, by the way. And then the guy who's listening to that is like, that's really stupid. You could already do that without being super rich. And it's doing one thing very unveil, which like I want female characters to also be horny. He's doing that multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
You can clearly tell that he's like, no, we've had the age of horny male characters.
Mm-hmm.
I want the full unbridled female horniness. And yeah, that's stupid. It's not enough. It's not enough. That's all I have to say about that. And it's not how Oda is doing it, and that's one thing that makes One Piece instantly good. It's not having to rely on these Quentin Tarantino-isms, even though Oda is a huge Tarantino fan. Huge.
Is he?
Majorly even. Yeah. Don't you remember Sanji is modeled after Steve Buscemi
he's modeled after Buscemi. Yeah.
in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah. I like
once
that movie.
Once you know it, you see it in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
But also Oda is not just like
he doesn't just copy paste him.
He's not copy pasting, and that's what makes Oda good. And people should learn more from like the patterns. Humans are pattern recognizing.
Other authors are doing the very surface level of copying
that's the thing. Surface level.
Copy the dialogue style. They're like, okay, we did it. And they're not doing the deeper thing of making your character look exactly like young Steve Buscemi.
So that's why Oda is like having chapters about some kind of really stupid minor villain like Django.
Mm-hmm.
Like one whole chapter,
for a while.
Whole chapter that's
he's
just
still
like,
alive, right?
he's in the Marines. He's under Hina.
Yeah.
There's like one chapter that introduces Django in Usopp's village. And that's like the most interesting thing that happens in the whole chapter. And even though that's really stupid, it's still interesting because Oda knows how to do that. And a lot of people should take notes of how to make something that's really stupid interesting enough so that you don't feel like you have to rush through a whole like story arc just so you don't fall into the trap of lingering too long on one character that might be a dud.
Do you remember your reaction to when he revealed what Django's eyes look like?
They're heart-shaped, right?
Yeah. They're shaped exactly like his glasses.
I think there wasn't an SBS. That's 20 years ago, I think.
Oh, I thought it was it was in one of the cover stories.
That might be true, but that's still 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I just remember I laughed. I heartily laughed at that. I thought it was very entertaining.
Those are the really stupid, like, small gags that really get when you still do. Oda had a relatively slow pace. Nowadays, it feels like, this is breakneck tempo. Sorry.
Yeah.
Breakneck tempo. And because it's just so many characters and everybody. That's a whole nother problem. But Oda in the beginning, because I'm just trying to make the argument that Oda wouldn't get cancelled even now, even if he has the whole buggy arc, which I think 20 chapters or something.
Yeah. What's wrong? People don't like that arc?
Yeah. A lot of people look at that and are like, this would get cancelled nowadays.
That was the introduction of Nami, wasn't it?
Yeah, and showed Zoro off, and that because previously we only knew like, Zoro is kind of like, he's kind of crazy. He would go to such lengths to do the Bushido thing.
Yeah, he almost died.
But it's never made a thing like, he's following Bushido, even though you clearly realize that he's very honorable.
If you know any samurai stuff, you know.
Yeah. But they don't point it out like, he's doing the Bushido thing. But nowadays, they do that. Nowadays, authors, like, if anybody else besides Oda was trying to do One Piece,
there would be a full page explaining Bushido.
Yeah.
And then you see Zoro.
Yeah, and in the Buggy arc, we get introduced to Nami. We get introduced to somebody else who has a devil fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That was up until that point. That was like it was treated as if Luffy's power was really exceptional, and it took another like almost 100 chapters until another dragon. I keep saying dragon fruit.
Dragon fruit.
Devil fruit is introduced.
Dragon fruit kind of looks like it would give you superpowers when you eat it.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
they don't even taste good. But that's something
they're good.
With
you don't like
dragon fruits. Dragon fruits are garbage.
They're good. They're like a giant and really mild kiwi.
Yeah, problem.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like them.
No.
You can't accept it.
Angry face. No.
Yeah, let me have my weird big kiwi. They're great.
Fine, you can. I'll stick to the better fruit.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll eat a whole lemon before I eat a whole dragon fruit.
Ooh, that's too sour for me. Can't do that.
Perfect. It's perfect. Anyways, so why was I talking about Oda getting
canceled? Because Ginka and Gluna and Tokyo Demon Bride story both lasted 29 chapters, and I was saying that's too long for them.
Thing in Ginka and Gluna is that they really rush through a lot of stuff that could have taken a whole chapter, and I think that would have, in this day and age, that would be refreshing again. You always have to look at the current trends, and if everybody's doing the slow pace, like, oh, I'm going to introduce this stupid character and I'm going to spend 10 chapters on it. Back in the day, that was then Oda did it, and now everyone is like, no, what if this character is stupid and I miss my chance to make my other characters shine? But I think that readers will reward you if you do it even with a shitty character.
Mm-hmm.
They will start to see the good in the character. If you show a character who's just shitty and he's shitty for a short time, then the garbage flavor will stain your mouth. But if you introduce a shitty character and you make him better over several chapters, then that can really make a shitty character into something good.
I'm like 70 some chapters through JoJo Lion, and I still don't like what's his name? Undercut
Joshu.
Boy. Joshu. Yeah. He's like, I think he's the second character who gets introduced, like in total.
Yeah.
He's such an asshole.
He's an asshole, and I think it's a waste of a Joe name.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a couple, because there's already been a couple arcs where he's like the main character of it.
Yeah.
But then even in those parts, I'm still like, I don't like this guy.
Do you want to talk? We should make a separate video about.
Yeah, we'll do a whole.
Because JoJo.
Yeah. I never finished it. I restarted it when the new one started, JoJo Lands, because I'm like, I want to read it, but I don't want to read it without finishing JoJo Land first. So I got back into that halfway through.
The problem is, I think I already disliked JoJo Lands more than JoJo Land, and I really hated JoJo Land.
Sad.
JoJo Land is so far the worst JoJo.
But it's in Hawaii. Everyone loves Hawaii.
That's the only good thing. But JoJo Lands starts extremely immoral.
Okay, that's too bad.
It starts off with somebody who's more immoral than Walter White at the end of Breaking Bad.
Oh no! Well, maybe they'll have a reverse Walter White arc. They start out as a jerk, and then they. Well, is it Jodio that you're talking about?
Yes,
because I remember seeing that there's a main character named Jodio, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, they're probably gonna have some evil aspects to them, since Dio was the main bad guy for so long.
Jodio is completely, to me, is irredeemable. Jodio is a drug dealer who's doing it just for the money. And when he sees somebody who's kind of like... when he sees somebody who's kinda like weak, like kind of a pussy, but weak-willed and wouldn't deserve bad things to happen to them, he's like, no, this person deserves bad things to happen to them.
No, he's that kind of character. So he's more Dio than Joe. You're saying?
Yes. He's a might makes right type of character. He deals drugs. He is okay with killing people as long as he gets away with his crime.
Yeah. Well, give it time. Let's see if Araki finds a way to redeem that guy. You have doubts.
A reversal could be possible because the most recent chapter introduced that Rohan Kishibe is in this for some reason, and they're going to rob him.
Oh no!
And considering that
Rohan never met Dio, did he?
No.
He
could.
Now he has.
Wouldn't have been possible.
He's met the alternate Dio. What do you mean? It would have been possible. Dio. Wait. No, by the time he got involved in Stan stuff, Dio was already dead.
Yeah. So, it could be possible that Rohan does something that, like, he could literally rewrite that Jodio is evil. He could, this guy is good now. But I have my notes, and I think this is Araki being influenced by watching too much Netflix.
And
watching shows that are really...
a bad guy.
Yeah, that's
villain
the thing.
Protagonist arc.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No.
I think if you want a villain protagonist, like for instance Giorno, who starts robbing Koichi.
A villain though?
He starts robbing Koichi and he's bribing the police and he's being really permissive to crime. But then he's like, no, I draw the line at drugs. And I want to protect the people in my town.
Yeah, he's got a reason.
That makes him an okay criminal. But Jodio...
He's the, I guess, gangster with a heart of gold stereotype.
Yeah. And his heart of gold is so golden that it wins over Bucciolati.
That's right. He gets the other gangsters onto his side. Yeah.
Instead, Jodio gets in trouble with gangsters. He gets in trouble with the police. And the only reason why you'd want to root for them is because the police and the gangsters are bigger pieces of shit than him.
No, that's not the way to do it. I feel like that's
the opposite of Save the Cat, probably.
That's become common for things that have kind of... like villain protagonists or even just anti-hero protagonists. They're like, we'll surround them with people who are even more of jerks than they are. So you like them in comparison to them. Yeah. It's not going to work on me.
Anyways, that's JoJo Lands, and if you want to hear about JoJo, like a whole breakdown of why JoJo sucks,
we can do it someday. Yeah.
We'll do it soon when you've finished.
Once I finish it. Right.
When Percy's done his homework.
Yeah. Also, like, just seeing the art, though, is making me want to reread Steel Ball Run, because I love Steel Ball Run so much. Yeah.
The art really took a nosedive. Got a little bit better in JoJo Lands, but Julian is... it's the wrong direction. Compared to reread Stardust Crusaders in good quality on Jump Plus.
Yeah.
This is not this sounds like an ad, but do it. Reread it in the extreme crisp quality and get nostalgia for the 90s that you never experienced.
Yeah. Stardust Crusaders is so good. I'm trying to think. Did I like Stardust Crusaders better or Diamond is Unbreakable? I really like Diamond is Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember before JoJo Leon came out, since Steel Ball Run was going back to a different time period, then there's so much speculation with fans like, oh, is it going to be another like weird time period and not just be modern day like a lot of the other ones were? Because I think part 1 and 2 took place in the past, then Stardust Crusaders took place around when it began publication. Then after that, they all took place around the time of publication until Steel Ball Run, which went back to the past.
And all of those after Star Wars Crusaders, it's always slightly in the future.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Don't you remember?
I think by the time it gets
Nostradamus gets invoked at the beginning of Part 4.
No, I don't remember that.
When what's his name? My name is Kangi. Oh shit, I can't quote it. The Duwangs, the Duwang.
Yes. The bad translations.
Scanlations.
Yeah.
My name is. You don't need to remember. Kangi Guanglai Kangi. That kind of So
Nostradamus and that.
It starts with Nostradamus, and that's how you know it's slightly in the future.
Okay, I see.
Also, in Stone Ocean, Jolene can reference having watched The Sixth Sense when she was younger, and she's spoiling it.
Oh,
as the movie
it was still in theaters
out
at the time, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, a lot of people for real got spoiled.
A funny story
about that.
It was really funny. Araki's such.
What a troll! He's always had that evil streak in him. Then that's why he's doing a villain protagonist now.
People pointed out
my true self.
that back then the movie hadn't come out in Japan in Japanese in Japan yet, so only people who watch movies in English subtitled in like a specialty theater would have watched The Sixth Sense on Premiere.
Yeah.
So Araki apparently spoiled the movie before the general public could watch it.
Funny.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's too bad. But anyway, what I was going to say is just that it's too bad that both JoJo-Eon and JoJo-Ens are pretty much modern day. Because I'm like thinking it would have been really fun to see Araki doing a story with stand users in a really different time period.
Yeah,
be great.
On the other hand, that takes a lot of it. Always
takes more research,
more effort. He has to do so much research, even if
he's on a monthly schedule now, so that'd be all right.
That's true.
Yeah,
but then I mean, if he in JoJo-Leon, that's set in modern day then, where the tsunami earthquake thing is very relevant to the plot, so it's really recent. He didn't have to put any research into that, and it still came out like such a drag.
Maybe what they need to do is force him to do something where he needs to put more research into it.
Yeah,
because then when he's just like, "Oh, it's modern day. I know the modern day." He doesn't think hard enough. Make him think.
Probably, maybe.
Anyway, do you want to talk about Ginka and Gluna first, or
yes, I want to talk about Ginka and Gluna first because it had the most. It's more frustrating that this went the way it did than Tokyo Demon story.
Yeah, I was talking to someone on Twitter about that. That I thought Ginka and Gluna had more potential than a lot of these other recently canceled things. Because I think they were
also had some major flaws.
Yeah, well, it had a lot of flaws, but like with PPP, as soon as you started telling me about it, I was like, I don't care about this at all. I don't care if it get canceled. And then with what do you call it, Tokyo Demon Bride Story, then fairly early in the series, I was like, I don't really care about this.
I can't remember.
And then of course, like
it had some nice chapters in between.
Chapter 1, I was like, no, just end this.
I'm out.
Get this out of here. Yeah, but Ginka and Gluna, it had some chapters like, oh, it could get interesting, and then it just ended. And it didn't even have because I think the ending to Red Hood, it was unsatisfying for coming early, but also I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool concept for an ending. Ginka and Gluna, the ending, I was just like, this disappointing. I don't really like the ending.
The ending is they had to the author had a main right, and he had the idea. He probably had the idea that Gluna would at the end fight him because Ginka was using himself up, right?
Yes.
And I can see that this was planned from the beginning.
Yeah, I can imagine it being planned, but I don't like the way that it.
The problem is that
out.
When the main villains showing up really, really early, like it's as if Blackbeard or what's his name, Aizen from Bleach, if he had already shown up really early, before they went to Soul Society.
Mm-hmm.
If that had been the case,
I think that's a similar feeling to how we got from Ayashimon, where they fight.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, what's his face?
That guy.
They fight him really quickly.
Yes, and that shouldn't have happened. That's what ruined the series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think at that point they probably were very like, yeah, we're gonna cancel this. It's also disappointing.
I'm not sure. I think when it happened in Ayashima, I think that's when the editor was like, you need to speed things up. We need to up the ante. You need to increase the stakes, even though the stakes were at the perfect balance at that moment.
Yeah.
Because that was what's his name? The guy.
Marua?
When the main villain showed up at the base that they just conquered, it destroyed the base, even though that was like the perfect setup for, this is our everyday life, this is our crew,
yes.
this is our...
This is going to be the stability for a while. We're going to have adventures out of here for a while.
And when the main villain just showed up, like, what's up? I'm gonna kill you now. And suddenly they have to go hiding, and they have to go to the other main villain, like the four emperors, the four horsemen, whatever.
Yeah.
That's probably when the editor was like, you have to speed things up. He sped things up. He got really bad reviews, and then they decided to cancel him. Then it was like, okay, you did have the main villain out, so can you like put the main villain somewhere in there, so that just have like a nice showdown for the end of the tankobon, in case people pick it up later on and just are like, why did this end? I think they are very cautious to end things on an awkward moment.
Mm-hmm.
And they...
Which is too bad, because last year there were a few things that ended on cliffhangers. And they're like, yeah, this might come back later. So
like what?
I got the...
What cancel?
Like Super Smartphone. It ends with the hero and the bad
was
guy
a good move.
Being like,
I mean,
we are at a stalemate now. We'll continue this later. So they put it up in a way so that the author, if he wants to, if he actually comes up with more good ideas later, then he can, write his own book on it. Because with a lot of these, they have a conclusive ending. So, and then in a way, you could say, that's more satisfactory because there's actually an ending. But in another way, it means that if the narrative author is like, I actually had some ideas and I'm going to refine them now that I'm not on a weekly schedule, then it's more difficult for them to continue because, the final book that had been out before will be a definitive ending. So they'll have to retcon it instead of just continuing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think like this method of being like, no, wrap it up, just really quickly do a definitive ending. In a way, it's less satisfying and might make it harder for the authors and the fans.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but in some cases, I'm like, I don't really want anymore. So it's just just end it. It's fine.
So in Ginka and Gluna,
where we left off after chapter 25. Yeah, this is chapter 26. So Ginka and Magaraka are having a big old fight using all their superpowers. And Gluna is worried because she's like, oh no, Ginka's using too much of his power. He's going to disappear. It's like, this manga, they used up too much of their magic, and it's about to disappear.
If only there had been a moment in the story before where he could have like reunited with his old fragments.
Yeah.
Sadly, there were no chances.
Maybe a place where there's many bottles with fragments of his original body.
That would have been really
because also
if that had happened in the series before.
The last time we talked about this, I had noticed that Magaraka, he declares he's using Ginka's body. Yeah. And you see he's got all these empty spots on him.
Yeah.
Like, that's where all the pieces of Ginka were taken out of. Yeah. But then they don't mention that. They don't do anything with it because they're just rushing towards the end.
Now that I mention that, like the fragments,
mm-hmm.
they really ditched the finding the Dragon Balls part really early.
Yeah.
Didn't they? And I think that would have been a really good way to like start the series. Start on like the first arc is just finding all the pieces, and they might have a way to locate all of the pieces, all of the fragments of Ginka's old body.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. And that concept got ditched so quickly as soon as the author decided, oh, but what if maybe one of the fragments becomes a character of his own?
Yeah, and he wants to cute mascot character.
Yeah, and it's
I still am sad that they
backfired.
didn't do the thing that we discussed of
Which
they
one we discussed
combine
so many.
and then it gives him alternate forms. So you can turn into the mini form instead of them being separate characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been so good.
Missed out. Yeah.
So many
if only they had us as their editors.
If only. It's
So
always
after
the
watching
same.
this,
I mean, it should be so easy. There's so many examples that you can just follow. Like, look at Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Two, like one girl and one crazy person go on a fetch quest to find the magic objects, and when they find the magic thing, something crazier might even happen. And when that happens, it's creation. It's like, wow, there's a goal, and what will happen when they reach the goal? You know?
Yeah, some tropes are common for the reason that they actually make it easier to write a story.
Yeah.
And it can be beneficial. You don't have to try to make everything so rare, even though we were just earlier talking about how it's good to make your thing different than what else is going on at the time. But sometimes you should look at some story structures and be like, yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Just observe the trends, and if you find a way to freshen things up, then do that. But I think this is an example of just writing by of your pants.
Yeah.
Is that the expression?
Well, which can also be seen in every time they go to a different location. They don't stay there very long. They bounce around. It doesn't get very in-depth. And when they go on, a lot of the stuff from the previous location is forgotten about.
The location might even get forgotten while they're still there. Remember when they went into the mine? And was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting concept. And then the mine changed into like, oh, this is actually the belly of a beast.
Magical caverns, right.
And it was completely different from when they entered. And I think you should stick to one thing at a time and explore that to its fullest.
Yeah, when you have an idea, put some depth into it, because then the reader will appreciate it.
It's the same advice as going on a big quest for the fragments and sticking to that concept. Even if they find out some other stuff, don't go on detours like, oh, maybe we should actually go to the Magic Academy while we're like in the vicinity. No, you shouldn't. You should still go find the fragments.
Even then, the Magic Academy had its connections, its natural connections to finding the fragments, because one of Ginka's old teachers is there, and another member of the academy actually had pieces of his body, but then they don't talk about it.
They shouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah.
If the Academy has this many fragments, they shouldn't have found they shouldn't have gone to the Academy at that point in time. They should have actually found more fragments of their own, and maybe then at the very end they're like, oh, we can't find more. We've been on this quest for so long. Where are the other fragments? And then they find out, oh, they're all congregated in one room in the Academy. But actually, I would say if they go to the Academy where all of the fragments are, they should have done that right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Either don't go there
I don't know about
at all,
have it right
or
in the
go
beginning,
there.
but
No, either go there at the very beginning or don't go there at all.
I'm thinking not of the time in which you get there, but what you do while you're there is the issue.
Also, they should have. They explained this thing about the moon and Varokia and stuff. They should have explained that right from the beginning.
And it also,
as well.
Also, I feel like that should have been explained to Gluna instead of
yes.
being explained to two characters who are off screen from her.
So stupid.
It's too bad.
It's because it's a really interesting concept. It's really good. I would say I would have wanted to see more of that world building.
Yes, it's like I said, why I was more disappointed about this one ending the way it did is because it actually did have some good ideas, even though it didn't flesh them out properly.
Didn't give each idea enough time, and all of these adventures where they just go to a place, realize there's a fragment, try to get the fragment. Maybe somebody uses the fragment in a new way, oh, he can do this now that he has a piece of Ginka. That just proves Ginka is so powerful. It just builds up the intrigue of how powerful Ginka could possibly be when he's 100% complete again. But
because all of these in the beginning they introduced that the gaping dragon that was in the town that they saved, didn't it have a piece of Ginka in it, and that's why it was so powerful?
It might be, yeah.
Because I feel like that introduced that concept, and then it was never touched on again. Because they showed Carla collecting bits of Ginka, but they didn't do anything with that. They didn't say oh, he's when he gets more, then he's more powerful. No, they did. They're like, okay, that's cool. They have a bunch of pieces of him. We're gonna go to the Academy and not ask them about it either.
Exactly. They should have had more adventures like the gaping dragon in the second chapter. And then each time they go on one of these adventures, they find out one more piece of oh, did you actually know that the moon, that they had two moons, and one of the moons was kind of like a nuclear plant for magical energy, and Magaraka ate it, and not just because he loves nukes, but because he just wanted to taste it because he's insane.
Yeah, it would have been good to have more of that.
So many missed opportunities.
And I think as a villain, Magaraka was way underdeveloped, which in this case, it could just be down to the fact that the editors are like, no, this is ending at the next volume, so wrap it up.
Give us a final showdown.
Yeah.
And
here's part of the final showdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Gluna starts fighting, and they reveal a new power that we never knew about before, which is that you can trade your memories for more magical energy, for more attack power. It's kind of like
in Hunter x Hunter, where you can make one of those contracts with your own Nen ability.
Yes.
To power it up, give it a condition, and once the condition is fulfilled, your ability gets stronger.
Yeah, it might just be because it's temporarily closer, but I was thinking a lot of Chainsaw Man Part 2 with this part, because in that you can trade things that you own for weapons if you're possessed by the War Devil.
Yeah, that's a good concept.
Specifically ones that you value more because you have, they're nostalgic to you or something like that. Then it becomes something that's more powerful. So I thought that's very similar to have this thing with Gluna's memories, and she starts trading her memories for attacks to be able to defeat Magaraka, and then she gets a flashback. It's flashback time, so we finally see why she was on the mountain, which was her mom died, and she had to her first quest, just like in Death Stranding, was to carry her mom's corpse, but she
had to S-rank her mom's corpse.
She did not S-rank her mom's corpse because she fell down. She did not hold down the triggers at the correct time to keep her balance.
You know, not only that, she also tries to do the Full Metal Alchemist thing.
Yeah. She also tries to create a homunculus, or she almost creates a homunculus, and Ginka's like, no, don't do it. And that's when she learns about the memory trade thing. So this is the lie from Ginka, is that magic can't do anything, because you can't bring someone back from the dead. You can't bring memories back from the past.
It would have been good if we had that conditions. Like, magic can do anything except these three things. That would have been really good.
Also, I was thinking back to early on. We saw that area on the mountain where time is convoluted, and there's like dinosaurs next to cars. And never got mentioned again. Yeah.
That was stupid.
Yeah, magic can do anything except for mess with time. Except for this area where time is convoluted. That's magic. But other than that, you can't mess with time with magic. So the magic system is... I really liked their magic words thing. That also does not come back during the final battle. Yeah. Oh, one more. Add to the pile of cool ideas that just were not fleshed out in this series.
But, you know, with Gluna having had a mom she really wanted to revive, if magic real.
Yeah.
Huge if real. I think that would have given, like, really good foreshadowing to her eventually using memory as fodder for her magic. Yes. Because if you had known that she had very precious memories of her mother, then this would have always loomed in your head, like, what if she ever used those memories as fodder? And she would be always like, no, I would never do that.
Since at the beginning, we just see her as an orphan, and then she gets to know Ginka and learns magic really from her. Weird. So, like, from all that we know, then her only precious memories would be from being with Ginka. Yes. And it would have been more interesting if we'd gotten more from her before about, like, you know, I don't have any material possessions, but I have my happy memories from the before times. Like, if you would say, like, oh yeah, before my mom died, then things were better. And then she never mentions that. So as far as we know, her life began on top of that mountain.
Yes. I think it's also a problem
as far as
when
she
you
knows
introduce
too
it.
Now.
It's a problem when you introduce a magic system where, like, Ginka and Gluna start off being able to just do anything if they can imagine it.
Yeah.
Then they introduce another system that's weaker because it uses spells, right? And it's explicitly weaker, and everybody is like, hey, why can't Gluna do this stuff? Isn't it crazy? But it also introduces the new system as something that she should learn in order to get better for some reason, which is inconsistent. And then introduces the third system, which is use stuff as sacrifice to make your magic stronger. So there's 3 systems, and one of them is completely busted, and it's the first one she immediately picks up. But it should have been the exact opposite order.
I know. It might have been that the author had just not thought through it clearly enough.
Yeah. So many problems.
I know. There's so many things to write down for if we ever write our own manga about magic users.
When you mentioned Chainsaw Man just now, also Chainsaw Man technically has a magic system, and it's always like make a contract with a devil, and the devil usually asks you for something. For instance, like most other devils are like, I want a piece of your body, and then like your fingernail disappears because it gets eaten.
You have to tie up your hair in a weird top knot.
And that's a different thing. Sometimes the devil is like, I like pretty boys, so if you do something like that makes me moe moe kyun, like something that makes me swoon, something that's my kind of fetish or something, then I'll give you a magic, like, one use for free.
Yeah.
Well, it's not for free, but you know what I mean. Like, do something to entertain me, and then I'll give it to you. It's always a trade.
I get Moi Moi Kyun. You get magical attack.
One magic news. Have you seen the Unabomber meme?
No.
Trade offer. You receive mail, and then nothing else.
Oh, that's awful.
Anyways, I already it's still too soon. I think the magic system in Chainsaw Man makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
It is an exchange. It's a trade, and sometimes the trade isn't as direct as you'd think it would be. And you should keep that in mind as like one possibility. You don't even sometimes in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the condition to activate something might be that it's a trade-off.
Right.
So always an option. And if you make a magic system that just can't do anything from the start, I think that it might seem like your possibilities are endless, but actually it puts way more restrictions on you, because then you have to be able to explain why not every problem can be solved immediately.
Yeah. Similar to once they made Superman too overpowered.
Yeah.
Then every story had to have someone finding some new form of kryptonite, because otherwise Superman would just win instantly.
I have to find the pink one.
What's that do?
Oh, you don't remember?
I don't remember.
The pink one makes you gay.
Wait, that's really from the comics?
Yeah. So stupid.
That, but that's funny. That's the kryptonite that makes Superman do something Moe Moe Kyun.
Yeah.
And then he gets even more powerful. Anyway. Yeah. The ending of this chapter 25, is just Gluna realizing that she's had a lot of fun with Ginka. And she's
that fun
gonna give it all up.
All of the fun that
to defeat Magaraka. Yeah. We saw some of it. Their travels together.
Some of it after she had learned magic, but the thing that you should be like, such a fun memory for me, the reader, would be if you had watched her train the whole time.
Yes, we did not
like,
see enough of that. Her training arc was literally within chapter 1, and then they never touch on it again.
There have been more montages of her being a child and trying to learn magic from the snowman.
Yeah, you could even spread it out across different chapters.
Yeah.
I feel like I've watched stuff that does that, where the very first chapter or episode shows the character as a kid and then growing up, but then throughout the whole series, they'll keep having flashbacks to when they were younger. I don't remember examples, but I feel like it's real. Yeah, anyway, chapter 26 of Ginka and Gluna, called Gifts. This one,
she gets her final uncapped artwork.
Yeah, she gets a cool new costume that we'd never see again.
I would assume that this was planned from the beginning, that she would eventually get like the stereotypical witch's hat, but it's made out of like starlight.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It reminds me of an ability that you could get in Diablo 3. Probably going to bring it back for 4, where for wizard characters, or are they called sorcerers? I forget. Whatever the main magic class was in that game, one of the ultimate abilities you could get is to turn into a starlight-filled version of yourself, kind of like this. And you get basically unlimited mana for a short amount of time. It's really good.
Wait, was it in Diablo 1 or 2?
Only 3. It was introduced in 3. It wasn't in 1 or 2. Because the graphics weren't good enough to do that kind of effect in 1 or 2.
I only played 2. I don't care about anything else.
A lot of people still think
Blizzard
2 is
was
the best.
already shit.
Yeah, 2
is the best.
2 is still, 2 is the industry standard for Diablo games. Unless
2 was also kind of scary, so...
Unless 4 is really good. I don't know if it's supposed to be good, because I did hear people say that the mobile one was just like microtransaction garbage. As expected.
I can imagine. That's what they wanted. They wanted to milk us. They wanted.
Yeah.
They
No, Blizzard, don't
like,
milk me. I don't want Blizzard to milk me. Anyway, she gets this form, and then she very, very quickly just destroys Magaraka by using all of her memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're really strong.
That was
the memories.
It was. You'd imagine that, this is the final battle because the series needs to end. But then you don't even see her doing like the finishing move, and it just says, and then they fought for a little while, and he just fled.
I know. You see one attack that looks like it might be the finisher, where she's like hitting him, and like tree branches are bursting out of the other end of him.
Yeah, whatever.
So that means. Oh yeah, she must have totally killed him by turning him into trees or something. But
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so they're like, no, he just left. That's all right. The fight ended. Yeah, very anticlimactic.
It should have just like said he's dead now.
I know. It's the manga's over. It wouldn't have mattered if they're like, we killed Magaraka. In fact, it would have been better if they just said, we killed Magaraka.
Nothing from here on out matters anymore, so might as well just go for it.
Exactly. Chapter 27, titled Ginka. It's just doing the backstory reveal for Ginka.
If only this had happened way earlier.
I know. Yeah.
At the very least, we see that
they wanted Magaraka using Ginka's body to be a surprise, but it would have been nice to know his backstory before this.
Him using his body didn't even register to me that he was using Ginka's body. That was so underwhelming. It felt like, he's just generic Sephiroth bad guy.
They didn't do anything with it. They said when Magaraka first appears, it's like, this is Ginka's body. And that's never mentioned again. I do like Ginka's backstory, though. It was a pretty cool chapter.
It wasn't bad. It was... it would have been pretty good in the middle somewhere, but now at the end, I'm already checking out.
Yeah, well, I think...
It's fucked up. It was...
Yeah,
this
if the author had their way, this would be the middle. And they wouldn't fight Magaraka for another, 30 or 60 or however many chapters he wanted to go for.
At least 50 until Magaraka even shows up. But I think it was cool I think it was pretty ballsy to be like, this sister got killed immediately, and she's just this. What was it? She's a skull, or what?
She's a skull. Yeah. So
put up a skull.
The backstory is little Ginka and his sister are the only people in town with horns. So then a lord of their town buys her. And then Ginka is just still being a slave. And he's like, I'm going to save up money and buy my sister's freedom. And he meets a talking rabbit who teaches him magic. That's cool, right?
That was pretty cool.
Little animal buddy teaching you magic.
It's reminiscent of Gluna at the beginning of the story being able to talk to the animals and... just making friends with the animals, and
never mentioned.
I think the big intrigue, never used. The big intrigue is like, was Magaraka always a rabbit, or was he just appearing in the form of a rabbit too?
You're imagining this little rabbit eating the moon hundreds of years ago?
No, he didn't. Watch out! This part here is when Magaraka was still a rabbit, and then he got big, and then he ate the moon, because you're
wrong. You got the timeline backwards, because in this, Magaraka tells Ginka that the reason he and his sister have horns is because their mother had been touched by a piece of the moon. He even tells him, Ginka, did you know there used to be 2 moons? And the reason that you and your sister have horns is because your mother was touched by one of the pieces of the moon that fell down. And its magical energy went into you, so you actually have potential to be a great magician. So that's why he trains Ginka, and then sets him on his path, which I thought it's like it's a cool backstory to have this guy who's he's so helpful in the in the main storyline. He teaches Gluna magic and is traveling with her, and saves a bunch of people. And then his backstory is like, oh, he actually, for revenge on one guy who killed his sister, he went and like wiped out a whole town.
Understandable. I mean, he wiped out a castle full of bad guys, so that's slavery enthusiasts, even.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, if they're actually in the castle, they're probably working for the bad guy.
Don't you think that would be pretty cool, like, if this was the backstory from before the Magaraka became super powerful and he was just a rabbit? And doesn't that, like, kind of make you think, like, wow, the most unassuming creature on Earth accidentally becomes, like, the most powerful thing, evil thing
like
that needs to be destroyed?
He started out as just a talking rabbit, and then he becomes the main villain over time.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Doesn't that sound intriguing? That's very, very like Gollum-like.
Yeah, write that down. But that wasn't the story. The story is that Magaraka had his entire evil supervillain arc, destroying the moon and stuff, and then he became this little rabbit.
You know what?
Which is also like, which also, if they had it before, this would have been the setup for showing that Magaraka can steal bodies from other creatures. Because the implication would have been that after Magaraka's defeat, when he was fighting Verrocchia, then he was, dying and alone and nothing around him except for this rabbit. So he took over the rabbit's body. So it'd be setting up for how later he would have Ginka's body.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
We had been shown that, and instead of us being like,
this series,
cool if this was the
this
case.
Series should have been. They should have taken it to a monthly magazine to be published monthly.
No,
give it more time for each thing.
They should have just been extremely slow. I'm just going back to the One Piece example. How slow One Piece used to be compared to Ginka and Gluna, just dashing through all of these adventures.
But I feel like you said before, people were saying that One Piece today could have gotten canceled in the early days, even though we disagree. I get the.
That's what people say.
I get the intuition because a lot of things that seem like they're moving slowly just get axed. And I feel do you think maybe Ayashimon was a victim of that? It seemed to be moving slowly.
No, Ayashimon is definitely a victim of wrong editor advice. And the editor was like, okay, now they have this base. Show the villain, give them a confrontation, just like as a taste for what kind of final battles might await. And that's the specific moment when the series took a super downturn. I think everybody hated that. I don't have proof, but I don't have doubt. This is what happened to Ayashimon.
The editor mismatch. This happened to behind the scenes.
Yes, and this is especially annoying because Yuji Kaku used to be an editor himself, so he should know better.
Right. But he should be able to spot when the editor is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
He should have enough confidence to be like, bitch, I made Hell's Paradise.
Yeah.
Did you think I kind of know a little bit, one or two, about how to structure my story?
I think the first episode of the anime for that is out already.
Yeah, it's all right now.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'll have to go watch it. You watched it already?
Yes.
Yeah, how are the characters' voices?
It's hard to describe.
Okay.
In my mind, I can completely visualize this and be like, but it's hard to. I don't have the vocabulary to say all of the things I would say about sound-based things. Like when I'm trying to describe somebody's voice, it's really difficult. But sometimes people get it like, yeah, that's right.
Well, I was just thinking, sometimes you hear a character's voice and you're just like, it doesn't fit with the character. But
well, I would say
that's good.
Something that's more important is like how the main theme could have been better. A lot of things, obviously, always like a lot of
that's
things
a matter
could
of
have
taste,
been better.
So, yeah,
it's just me always being like, this could have been better if they had the people who made Demon Slayer. Also, I don't like the Demon Slayer OP, so like, whatever.
To be honest,
I will find
I can't
any
even remember
hair.
what it looks like.
I will find
Or what
any
sounds
hair
like.
in any soup.
Yeah. That's a special ability. That's your...
I'm using my gil too.
It's your Nen power.
Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. After sad backstory, flash forward to sad Ginka because Gluna has no memories of him. And
he resolves to like, I don't want to repeat mistakes, so I just don't do anything.
yeah, there's so much about these final few chapters, the kind of, I guess you'd call it the epilogue, that I thought was...
Tokyo Demon Bride story had the same.
The same
you always need
problem.
like one
Tokyo Demon Bride story's epilogue was worse.
I mean, they had the same rhythm of having been going like, you need a low point, and then we'll lift you up again. So the low point for Tokyo Demon Bride story was like, and then Manaka disappeared, and we were very sad. Then we tried to retrieve her, then we were happy again. The end. And this is the same. Gluna doesn't remember me, even though I'm totally still around and can still interact with her, and she just like doesn't remember. Like, do you remember that one time when we were on the mountains? No, but we could go to the mountains.
She even gets a panel where she's saying to the other girls, Beretta and Anemone, she's like, "Who is that you're talking to?" It's like, they seem to have been recuperating at this place for a while. You could have explained that to her already. They're like, "Oh, you gave up all your memories of him to beat a big monster guy, so that's who he is. He's your best friend."
It would have been a different story if part of like erasing your memories would be that you also aren't able to recognize the person anymore.
Oh,
so
that
basically, if that sometimes happens, and I don't. Yeah, it would have been worse, and I kind of don't like it when it happens. But that would probably be like an appropriate price to pay if you use the magic that erases your memories.
Become completely
in this case, it would have been
character.
Appropriate. I wouldn't like it, but it would have been more appropriate than her just being like, "Oh, I don't remember you anymore." I guess that's really bad now, huh?
Yeah. And
it's not bad. You can still become friends again.
Well, if you literally can't remember his face, then it would end up being like 50 First Dates, where every day you have to reintroduce yourself. Yeah.
That's good.
It's tough. Yeah. Go live on a boat with Adam Sandler. That's the only way. No. Yeah, then we get another flashback. We're like, no, not done with flashbacks yet. You get another one to show that Ginka's dead sister, she really liked the moon. And
did she?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So the second backstory is Ginka feeling like he's feeling a lot of guilt because he never saved his sister. She was dead already when he got there.
His imagination of what she would be like if
really
she was
scary.
Resentful is really scary, and it's haunting him. But then he realizes, oh no, wait,
that's not what she's like.
Really
that's just my own fears, right? Yeah.
You know what? This would have made sense if Ginka himself had used the memory erasing magic, and the one piece that he sacrificed was
he sacrificed his sister's happiness.
No, sacrificing that his sister used to be friendly.
his memories of his memories of his sister being happy. Yeah,
everything else except she wouldn't be resentful. She wouldn't blame me for it. Oh shit, that most important part.
Yeah, I gave that up to avenge her. And he's got a big mausoleum for her. And he cuts a hole in it, being like, oh, so the moon can shine down on her skull. Yeah, there's the page where it's showing that even though they were living in poverty with, this broken down house, they were able to see the moon. So it's fine. That's what the sister was like. Just like in
Aladdin, where he has like a penthouse view on the palace.
Exactly.
Prime real estate.
That's right.
What's it called when you occupy an apartment or a house without
Squatting.
Without paying the squat. He's a squatter.
Yeah.
He squatted the prime real estate. That's why
right.
the palace guards are always after him.
Yeah, they hate him. It's not just the bread. It's a lot of things building up until that moment. And Karo is like, you haven't disappeared yet, so even though she doesn't remember you, it's obvious that Gluna's magic is still affecting on you.
Uh-huh. I mildly remember this.
Yeah. And then the final chapter, they decide, because with magic,
erasure.
Anything's possible. Let's try to break the memory erasure. And sadly, you can't. That they spend a year on it, which is ridiculous. They spend a year on it when they could have been spending that year going out and making new memories.
All of these attempts, that's new memories, right? That's like, we tried to do something together. It's kind of. I think they could have just skipped that part and be like, okay,
I know. They could have skipped.
Just be friends again.
Could have skipped saying it's a year and just gone to this, where they're like, even if we don't remember you from before, my name's Ginka. Let's be friends.
You know what? You know what? I think the author miscalculated and was like, shit, I only have like 3 chapters left. I guess I have to finish the Magaraka fight in 1 chapter. Yeah. Then I have this chapter and this chapter, and instead he should have just skipped 1 chapter here and spent more time on the Magaraka fight.
Would have been fun.
It would have been really good.
Yeah. Got a pretty good ending page though. They're like, let's go make new memories. It's sort of like it's like what Shiori
go.
It's like what Shiori was convinced to do in the Ichinose family.
Right.
Yeah, let's make new memories. Do you remember the time we were on that road trip?
Us?
No, I'm referencing Ichinose family's Deadly Sins when they went on a road trip. Yeah, and then they didn't remember it. Gluna, wake up! You've been in a coma this whole time.
It's been a loop for 2,000 times.
Yeah.
Would have been. I don't think this wouldn't have been inappropriate for Ginka and Gluna, but this is the end.
A dream ending?
You know, so I had a short conversation over Twitter with somebody and asked him, what series do you think was axed unjustly?
What they say.
And you normally think somebody would say something like Ayashimon or
Red Hood.
Red Hood. Personally, I don't even feel that bad about Ayashimon and Red Hood because they both had moments shortly before they got axed that I would think justified the axing. Like Ayashimon dropped off when they had the fight with the main villain early. Yeah, that's his name, Doppo. Stupid name. That's when the series stopped being what I wanted it to be, and it started struggling, I would say. And similarly, Red Hood had this Hunter x Hunter exam thing.
Yes.
Which was, I would say that was unnecessary. They should have had more adventures leading up to something like that. It would be as if you, like, there's a few staples, right? You have like the Chunin exam or Hunter exam thing.
Yeah.
And you have the tournament arc that you, and those kind of things, that's what you pull out when you're like, I'm kind of out of ideas and I'm kind of struggling. Yeah. So I would say you're only allowed to do that when you're relatively late in the game and you don't really have to, like...
When you're not as worried about getting
you don't have
canceled.
To justify having these because otherwise it's all just a sign of weakness from a writer's perspective.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Like, you can have something like a tournament if you do it like One Piece, where you have a bunch of characters and then you just pair them off together. And
One Piece, I feel like they've had lots and lots of battle storylines that are arranged similar to a tournament arc, but are not actually a tournament arc. I think there's been only 2 parts that could count as an actual tournament.
Yeah, the Dressrosa thing and
Foxy.
Foxy? I thought you were going to say Sky Island.
Do they have a tournament at Sky Island?
Well, it was more like
against Foxy. They literally have a tournament.
Battle Royale is kind of a tournament, isn't it?
I guess. It's a 3. Anyway, what else ended this week that you want to talk about? We can talk a little bit about Ichigoki. Ichigoki literally ended.
I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to say good riddance. This series, I think I was already doubtful when the series started, just because I knew what
literally
the author had
chapter
previously
1
produced.
We were doubtful of it. Oh, so even before it started, you were doubtful.
Even before, because I knew the author made what's it called, Jimoto wa Japan or something.
Well,
I'm from Japan. That was such a bad series.
Yeah.
Unworthy of. It was one of those things that were probably commissioned by the tourism board of tourism.
Right. But they didn't do as good at it like Elusive Samurai telling us to go to Kamakura because it's home.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ichigoki did somewhat of a Mago-chan speedrun.
Not quite. Only a little bit.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
It did it over the course of several chapters.
Did you read back a few chapters? I only read this one.
I just checked because it started when he's entering middle school, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it just skips high school, and then he's an adult. And then
it skips again, and now they're getting married.
It skips again, and now they're getting married. It's really stupid.
Yeah. It's a extremely stupid ending. Chapter 2 It's just like, 6 years have passed. We're getting married. It reveals the reason they got together is because the girl finally got big again, and then fixed Ichigoki's body.
It finally fits.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, we could still partner up, and that's how they got married. Which rate that with other manga proposals, because you really hated that one from Bakuman. How's this go with that?
This one's better.
Yeah.
You didn't laugh at my joke.
I'm sorry. Passed right by it.
Anyway, so the finale of the whole thing is that, Gorilla shows up again, just like in the first chapter.
A repeat
and
of
we're doing the one joke that the series has, which is he's a robot. Parts can come off.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But it's done. Yeah, the girl made it so that parts of him can do robot stuff. But it's all really stupid robot stuff. Because this time she shoots his head at the gorilla. That's how it's defeated. And then he gets to, do the rest of the wedding without his head actually being present.
Stupid. If she loved him, she shouldn't allow this to happen.
She shouldn't use his head for that stuff.
Just for the joke, it's not worth it. If you sacrifice integrity for a stupid joke, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. It's bad.
A lot of those
I'm glad it's over.
Like, that's a complaint that I have that will pop up a few more times today.
Really?
Yeah. Well, depending on how much we still get to do today.
Yeah.
Maybe for another
I'm sure we'll
day,
talk to a lot. Next, shall we talk about the ending of Tokyo Demon Bride Story?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tokyo Demon Bride Story, when we last left off, they were with the illustrious aunt, who even calls herself the illustrious aunt. It's such a dumb title. And that's her name, pretty much. She's like, yes, I am Manaka's illustrious aunt. Like, why would she refer to herself that way too? It's dumb.
I had to look up what illustrious mean. To me, previously meant something different, but apparently
what did
you
you
can
think
also use it as like something that would appear in a magazine. It's so illustrious.
I understand why you would think that.
But apparently you can also use that as a
it's like an honorific. Yeah.
And apparently they used the word that probably didn't have a different translation from Japanese to English, which can only translate to illustrious, so that's why they were stuck with that, and it kind of sucks.
It only sucks because they say it over and over and over again. It's really dumb. Yeah. So
she's giving Ginta the choice to do the kaiji thing. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna do the kaiji thing. Then he does the kaiji thing, and it was all just a ruse. It was just a test to see if he's committed enough to marry Manaka or something.
Yeah, basically.
So, do you see the pattern of any time something like a real threat popping up in this manga? It's always somebody just testing him to see if he's okay, and then the person who did the evil thing actually turns out to be super nice and be like, let's forget about it.
What was the last time?
Forget about it. It's everybody.
The ramen guy wasn't just testing them.
Well, that was a mid boss. You can tell because he had the mid boss physique. If you have the mid boss physique,
so did the guy who almost chopped off Nyako's head. He also had that guy physique. Yeah, right. But he turned out to be nice.
He was the exception, but almost everybody else who's like really, really muscular, really tall,
right?
Long arms,
lanky,
pot belly,
beefy. Yeah, that look.
Don't forget the pot belly. That was always belly. Like it's so weird when you're a mid boss, you get the pot belly.
Yeah. That's where the levels are stored.
They did the thing again where they're pretending that all of this time has happened. All of these memories. Do you remember all of these memories that you were shown? All of these fun moments that were really slow and didn't rush through this stupid story.
And this specific one isn't even just to talk about their time together. It's just after the aunt tells the story of all of their family drama.
Which was stupid.
Then Ginta is like, oh, she's just like us for real because her dad abandoned her. Just like Ginta and his sister's dad abandoned them.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
When you're in a demon world where you get imprisoned.
You're a demon princess. And the reason that your dad abandons you is because there's all the drama between relatives is them killing each other.
Wasn't it like the dad abandoned the mom, then the mom remarried, and then the mom abandoned them again?
I don't even remember. It was complicated.
So stupid. It was so stupid.
Yeah. So he's gonna chop off his fingers. He's doing the kaiji thing. Then chapter 27 is test. Is when it's like, nope, it was just a joke. Flashback to the illustrious aunt showing off to Monica how, look, this is your land. Isn't it so wonderful?
Wouldn't it have kind of made sense for it? Like, Manaka has this really sad past where she's like, oh, I don't want to be at home. I want to be, I want to be with Ginta because that's more freedom or something. Then you see that the aunt really loves her.
Took care of her so well. Yeah. It's such a different impression than what we'd first gotten.
Yeah.
So there he's doing it. The effects. The speed lines.
2 fingers. He was
3.
He was offered to either chop 3 fingers off or his eye.
An eye, yeah.
Who would pick his eye? Who would, like, that's nowhere near equivalent. An eye
would like it.
Is worth so much more than 3 fingers. At least 4 fingers or the whole hand.
Yeah. Even then, an eye, at least with modern technology, cannot be replaced. There's pretty good robot hands out there. Yeah. You're not just limited to a hook these days.
Even back in the day, you weren't.
Yeah. Look at Iron Fist Glitz.
So cool.
Yeah.
Just found out he had a contemporary
Uh-huh.
in history who was like giant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it Pippin?
Giant pirate slash folk hero of the Netherlands.
You think it'd
They
be
could have
hard to be
met.
giant
They could have
and a
fought.
pirate because you're on the seas so much? You'd be eating all of like the, you can't bring that much or you'll run out of supplies.
That's why you are a pirate. You need to get
To
all of the
steal more.
food. Then again,
Yeah.
that was
You think it'd be easier to be
1400 something?
land-based, to be huge?
No, there's food in the water.
Yeah.
Go out to sea to just eat all of the fish.
Maybe that's just my bias because I'm not good at fishing. I wouldn't be able to be big.
Wait,
on the
fishing
oceans.
or fish eating?
Fishing. I like eating fish. Yum yum.
I thought you meant fish eating. I'm not that good at fish eating.
Oh really?
I only eat sushi.
Yeah. You don't like any other kinds of fish?
Salmon. Tuna.
Do you like fish
That's
sticks?
No. Yeah, I love fish sticks.
Anyway.
Then put on the mask and go to Alex Jones.
Yeah. No one cared who he was until he put on the mask. Actually, it's the other way around. People kind of, people didn't want
when
to.
you put the mask on.
Like, no,
he's
I don't
crazy.
like that anymore.
Actually, I haven't heard about him ever since.
I know, that's why I said it.
Can't wait to see the next episode. It's gonna be really funny.
Let him cook. Just like the Austrians aunt cooked. She cooked a big meal for them. And joked that they're eating the people that she killed. She's like, no, not really.
I wouldn't feed Manaka that.
Yeah.
And why is she eating it? Why is she the supreme ruler of these lands? Why is she lowering herself to eat like some rotten corpse's cheek?
She's not. She was just joking. It's just a joke.
She did that. No, she did that in her introduction.
Oh, was she really biting the head?
Yeah.
That she got in? Oh.
She came with a decapitated head, and then she like just took a bite out of it.
That too was just a joke. That's what they think is funny in the other world. That's how you know they're hardcore. Yeah.
She was trying to intimidate them.
Yeah, that's right. It worked. They were so scared. And then finally, they just use an anywhere ticket and go back home. It was so easy this time. Last time they used the anywhere ticket and it wasn't very accurate, so they still had to walk a long way. This time, straight home.
Maybe they popped out anywhere in Tokyo, but you can still just take the train back home, so that's okay.
That's right. They just didn't know how to use the train system in the other world.
They didn't have a train system.
Yeah. Are you sure? I'm sure they have some freakish
ghost train.
Yeah.
Ghost train that you can suplex.
Yeah. So yay, that's the ending. They're home, right? No, there's still more chapters.
No, 2 more. It's this is the worst part. This is the worst part where they're like, oh, by the way, there was another really dangerous demon that
something even more dangerous is going to come to you. Well, first they do something that they should have done, like before chapter 10, which is now they're all going to school with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It never showed them in school before. Like, you could even forget that Ginta is in school.
One simple way to fuck up your manga, your one shot at becoming big name jump author millionaire.
Yeah. Have high schoolers and don't show them going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So easy, just put them in high school. Problem solved.
I know.
Sometimes don't even have to make up a story. Just put a girl in high school. That's all.
Give her horns.
Referring to Ruri Dragon.
Yeah.
Even if Ruri Dragon didn't have horns, if she didn't have any, even if she didn't have anything going on for her, would have been a good story.
Mm-hmm. Just girls in school being cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, would have been popular.
That was my, I wanted to say my example of people will eat it up if you just take the story slowly, show everything in detail, don't rush through it. Brewery Dragon proves that you can do it.
Yeah.
It's so popular.
Although that also felt very slow. I could feel the slowness of it.
It was good.
Mm-hmm. It was enjoyable. It was a thing. I think the plot was too slow because they would say something
the plot was
about
stupid.
plot. They'd say something about plot and then be like, "Oh, we're just not going to discuss that at all. We won't even reference it for a while." But then the day-to-day slice of life stuff was good.
We're going to mislead you on purpose as a joke.
Just like the illustrious aunt did.
Yeah.
That it's revealed that the illustrious aunt told them, by the way, there's like another monster that's going to come to Earth. And it's super dangerous, and the only one that can fight it is you, Ginta. All right, see you later.
If that had been the case, why wasn't he approached from the start by people who are like, oh, by the way, we found out that you are the chosen one and only you can save the world, and we should do everything in our power to prepare for this ultimate battle that only you can win for us, and you are kind of a wimp right now, so that's why we need to power you up. Nope. It's all just coincidental, like, oh, by the way, you happen to be the... Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Once again, comparing it negatively to Bleach, then... Yeah. By the way, there's stuff happening from the other world, and you need to deal with it. Except this, they just cut it off, and they don't have another arc.
Going back to my Twitter conversation, let's say, the person I was talking to claimed that, oh no, why are all of these authors get axed before they get to tell their stories?
Because their stories suck, sadly.
The thing is, this person, some people assume that these authors, these mangaka, go into the magazine being like, I want to tell my story. I have this prepared in my head over 10, 20 years, and finally I get to tell it. No, it's people want to be a mangaka, first and foremost. They want to have the title, they want to have the occupation, and then they start worrying about telling the story.
I thought you were going to say that it was that they come in with a one-shot, and they don't have anything planned beyond that. But just because a one-shot gets good, then they have to think up a bit. Which is like, it reminds me of an interview I saw with, I forget who was, someone who worked on the Matrix movies, was talking about how for the first one, the directors, the Wachowskis, had been workshopping the storyline of it for years. Because they were like, let's take all the sci-fi stuff that we like and then sort of mash it together, come up with a cool story with a lot of those concepts. So they worked on it for a super long time. And then they'd been trying to get it made, but couldn't get the funding. They were only doing like these smaller budget movies. Then finally they got finally they got the budget to do The Matrix. And they did it, and it was a big hit. And because it's a big hit, then the studio is like, all right, we want you to do 2 more of those because trilogies are really cool now. So they just rushed into it, and they couldn't do it. But they didn't have more time. Yeah, they just shouldn't have.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how it goes.
Similar thing. You do one thing, and it's good enough to get in, but then you haven't prepared for what comes after that.
Yeah,
many such cases.
You should always do that. Which makes me question if you like, how serious can you possibly be if you don't have like a huge portfolio of stories, you like story beats you might want to do.
I don't know.
If you get
I don't have that, serialized. So I wouldn't know.
It's all I do. It's all I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your OneDrive must be bursting Or no, Google Drive. Whichever one it is you use. Yeah. Anyway, this Demon Bride story is not over yet. There's still another chapter, which is that they're riding home and they get attacked by a demon. And it's not even the one that was mentioned. It's a different one.
You'd think it would be the one. They build it up like, oh, this is the final battle demon that was going to threaten. No, it's just some random demon.
Another random demon that got released from the same prison. It attacks them, destroys their train, and then Ginta and Monica don't even take it out. It's their friends that take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Underwhelming.
Dude. Yeah. Very anticlimactic again.
Yeah. So the final battle shown in the manga, the main characters don't even take part in it.
They just look at it like, oh, isn't it crazy how sometimes we get into these stupid situations where monsters show up? And isn't that crazy? Would it be much more crazy if you also dealt with them yourself, maybe?
That's right. I also didn't like afterward, the little talk they have, where Ginta is like, oh, things are so dangerous that if that monster does come, I want you to just run away so you can be safe, and I'll try to fight it. And then Monica says like, oh, Ginta, you've never given up, so I'm gonna stay with you because that shows that you're strong, and I admire that.
She's way stronger than him.
I know. Every fight before, she's been shown to be way stronger than him. It's such a weird thing for her to praise him for. Even though I'm sure, like, I assume she's just saying, oh, because you have also gone through lots of adversity, you know, being kind of an orphan and having to work and stuff. But it's kind of underwhelming for a conversation where this is basically them finally starting the relationship. Because Jinta's like, all right, I'll be with you.
Previously, he was always like, no, she has a place in our house, and she, I feel for her, but not like,
not in that way.
For her, and I think she's really cute, and she's, maybe I saw her accidentally naked that one time, and now I'm in love with something like that. No, none of that.
We missed out on so much possible relationship building. It's just battle after battle with dumb jokes. And then this short speech.
Wasn't this the final page?
No, this is the final page. He smiles, and Monica's like, this is the first time I've seen you smile. And I'm like, really? You've had all these fun times together? You've never actually seen him smile? What about the time that you were each eating a single manju? He didn't smile at that?
No, he didn't smile. I remember it.
He never smiled. Even Moy smiles.
Yeah, Moy smiled so much.
I know. Even though he's the serious guy of that story.
Man, Tokyo Demon Bride story wishes it was Witch Watch.
Yeah, well, even just look at Ginta. He's just the lesser Moy. Just by his looks.
He's probably even the lesser Ayashimon main character.
Maruo. Well, I wouldn't go that far. Maruo is pretty special for being a lame-looking main guy. He was a special boy.
The annoying part about this final page, I already forgot about it, is that Kiroro comes with all of her cousins. So the final punchline of the series is, more waifus. Isn't that funny how always more waifus show up?
Yeah.
Here's more.
Lame.
We didn't even get the chapter where he's like, Jinta's kind of almost falling in love with his sisters.
He doesn't have any scenes where he's almost falling in love with anyone. The only time that he finally acknowledges is Monica here. Every other time he just brushes it off and doesn't seem to care about any romantic stuff at all. And now his harem is only just beginning, and it's the end of his series.
The series would have been way better if it was a straight up harem where all of these girls come, like, show up and are like, oh, I was smelling the delicious sacred blood. I want to get the good stuff. It's probably stored down here, right? Where all of the like, it's bulging with blood, right?
Yeah,
And
that's where sacred blood is stored.
It's kind of more blood is going in there, all right, and then they would do something sexy, and then they would have gotten more reader evaluations, and then they would have survived, but they didn't do it because they did listen to us.
Yeah, this author titled it Tokyo Demon Bride Story and had a harem for the main character, and then decided to make it a battle manga instead, and not a particularly good one.
Nah.
Yeah, it should have been purely harem, and then every time they would have like one page of them battling some ghost to keep it in that genre still.
Do you remember in Bakuman where I forgot which one of the other authors, but one of them was like, we do have a quota for panty shots.
Oh, really?
I don't really remember clearly, but they did mention it, and that made me go like, yeah, you technically should have a quota if that is the genre you pick.
Yeah.
If it's as if you were maining to be the dedicated pinup model, and you never post photos of yourself.
Exactly. Makes sense. If you wanted to be a YouTuber and you never post any videos.
That's it. Anyway, so did anything else end, or is that the ending of our endings?
That's everything I'd wanted to say about these three, other than good riddance, so we can have more space for other things.
The problem is all of the new stuff that has already started isn't exactly good.
Oh no!